What is going on, guys? My name is Tufty Tuft. Welcome to a Borderlands 3 video post-gameplay reveal event. I am so excited for this game. I got invited, as you guys know, to go down and experience the game firsthand. I got to capture some footage, which you're watching right now. I am currently Amara, which I absolutely loved being Amara. She is an amazing siren. Yes, she's a siren, not a warlock. Definitely siren. God, there's just the game just feels incredible, and I know it's still really early. Only had, say, technically 3 hours of actual time with the game because I got to stream it and I got to capture it. Capture time was 90 minutes and stream time was about 90 minutes as well. So I did get to play two characters, Zane and Amara, and I just walked away feeling like, oh my god, I cannot wait to play this game again. I'm currently using a Malawan sniper right here, missing as well. I think this gun is like a green or a common white gun or something like that. Across the board, the gunplay feels dramatically better than Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel. Just straight up across the board, they have done some amazing stuff to make the guns feel like they have identity, personality, just visceral experience to it. Like the sound effects mixed in with the recoil and the way the bullets respond have just been dramatically upgraded, because if you're a fan of Borderlands, you know that's definitely not its strong suit. And well, they're changing it in this. It feels considerably better. Here I'm about to get my second win, my first second win. Oh my god, it's the second win. It's Borderlands. The AI as well feels better. They don't, I mean, this is the low level stuff, so obviously end game type of AI could be different, don't really know. But these guys right here, they feel interesting and fun to play against. Granted, this is my first time playing, and so you got to factor that into it as well. The new shiny factor is obviously affecting my experience, but it didn't feel like, oh, these guys are kind of boring or whatever. It's like they were interesting enemies to fight against, and this is just one small section of the game. And the weapons, I mean, like I'm pretty sure that's a white weapon that I'm using, just because like I wanted to pick it up and try it out, and it feels fantastic. Not because, you know, it's overpowered or anything, but just because the gun itself, like I said, it has personality. They have like the certain feels to them that is just really impressive to see. Coming from a Destiny player experience, like that is really awesome to see them make these guns have actual competition, or feel like they're in a competitive marketplace of 2019 where, you know, free-to-play games are coming out and it's like, wow, these guns feel fantastic. And they definitely needed to have that checked off on the list of things for them to have a successful launch, in my opinion, for 2019. And I think they've done it, personally, from what I've played. I didn't get to use mouse and keyboard because there was developer controls for the keyboard, so they wouldn't allow you to do that. You had to use a controller specifically. And I also haven't used a controller in a while. But that being said, it felt really good. Really, really, really good. Also, the field of view, I believe, is pretty narrow. So this is probably the field of view of like default console, even though we were playing on PCs. So yeah, with that stuff mentioned and out of the way, basically the game's amazing, and I can't wait for September. And you may want to call me a fanboy or whatever, or you know, shill or anything of those things. I could care less. I am an absolute fan of the game, and as a fan, they 100% delivered for me as somebody who's very excited about Borderlands. If you've never played the franchise before, or on the fence, or never really liked it, you know, there's the humor might not be your thing. I totally understand that. You might hate Claptrap. You might not like the art style at all, even though it is a beautiful game. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like they really took the Borderlands art style and made a 2019 version. And it looks stunning. It just is a beautiful looking game that says Borderlands in every image. And I love that. And again, you might hate that. It might be the type of thing where it's just not your style of game. And that is perfectly fine. It is all good. Like I said, as a fan of the franchise, this is just double downing on the Borderlands experience. And I love it. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Oh, I guess that was a green weapon, that the pistol hand cannon. And that's a white weapon right there. This sniper, this Malawan sniper. They just have so much polish in this game. It is honestly incredible. They said that they didn't really have a time limit or a constraint to making this game. So they basically took 5-6 years and were like, what if we made their dream version of a Borderlands game? And that's essentially what happened and what I walked away with experiencing, because they brought out several hundred content creators and had several hundred content creators also stream it live for the first time in front of a lot of people online. And that is some serious trust to be able to put a demo build of a game that's like months away from being launched. This comes out in September. This is May, so we're 4 months away. And that's a considerable amount of time to be like, hey, check out this game, check out the experience, check out the sandbox that we built, check out the just the overall the Borderlands experience from this, and have no filter. There was no contractual obligation to say anything about the game other than the truth. And that's what they wanted. They wanted people to just be like, be honest and be truthful about how you feel about the game. And to have that many content creators be able to stream it and just be off the cuff, like legit about how they felt about playing the game is really incredible. I did get to capture this footage the day before, which I think was fantastic because it was overwhelming. Like I said, as a fan, I was a bit overwhelmed with all the things and the minutia of changes to the experience, where I was like, oh, I need to pick up every white gun and see how it feels. I need to look at all these different type of firing modes. I need to inspect all the vehicle things, like there's customizations in vehicles and like how the vehicles feel, like all that stuff. It was a bit overwhelming, so I'm really glad I got to actually capture first. But it also just reaffirmed for me, streaming it as well, how amazing this game is looking, and just the excitement for myself. Yeah, it's incredible. So like I said, the gunplay dramatically improved. The vehicle movements dramatically improved as well. Like, these vehicles feel really good. This one specifically, the Cyclone type of thing, is just like it's very responsive and snappy feeling. So that's great. Character movement feels fantastic. Obviously, there's sliding and mantling, and in 2019, if you don't have sliding and mantling, there's a little bit of a like what's going on, like who's in charge type of thing, and they did that, which is great. I know it's kind of silly to be like excited about something like mantling and sliding, but in a Borderlands game, that's a big deal because it hasn't been in there yet. Also, I didn't have captured footage of this, but you can actually jump. You can be right next to those vehicles and hold X and pull those guys out and steal their vehicle, and then take that vehicle, bring it back to the shop, and then that will they'll take the parts and put it into your system. So that's one of like 2 or 3 ways of how you can actually go and collect vehicle parts, which I think is really cool. I just want to throw that out there. That's one of the devs told me. He was like, hey, go by there, like hit X when you're next to the vehicle, you're gonna do something. I was like, really? And then he told me about the various ways that you can unlock parts and all that with the vehicles. Just awesome, right? Just really cool. Can't wait. Yeah, so again, gunplay significantly better. Movements, sliding and mantling is great. It feels good. The slide has various levels of like, you're sliding, you're not sliding, you're sliding, you're not sliding. You can hold the button to slide longer type of stuff. It has kind of like an inertia effect to it, so you can kind of gradually slide out type of stuff, which is great. There's also it's a return to gory, mature level blood. Like that, right? That the head just popped and just started gushing everywhere. Fantastic, right? First Borderlands, it's like that was in there, and then when Borderlands 2 came out, I was really surprised that they basically moved away from that. I was like, huh, strange. They went back to it, and you can shoot off limbs, you can shoot off like a leg or an arm. Whatever the final kill bullet landing spot is essentially a very satisfying, gory version, unless they just burned it up like that. Just great stuff, guys. Very happy that they returned it back to a gory, mature level on that. Movement, again, fantastic. Mantling, sliding, all good stuff. All the scopes that I saw so far were very interesting. This is another thing, like in Borderlands 2, Like the scopes kind of felt a little gimmicky sometimes. Or actually, Borderlands 1 especially, but Borderlands 2 somewhat. They felt just a little bit on the gimmicky side and less refined. That's something like Destiny does really well. Like the scopes are just really eye candy type of stuff. I feel like they realized that in Borderlands 3 and said, okay, let's make sure we have some amazing looking scopes that can roll on guns. And yes, I saw quite a few. Towards the end of my live stream, one of the devs came up and started hitting the P key on my keyboard, and it started crapping out loot. And eventually, I finally got a couple legendaries that were world drops out of that loot, because they were in the sandbox for the demo build, these world drop legendaries. And I got to check out some of the scopes, and they looked amazing. Just from like purples to legendaries, all these different, all the different gun varieties, and the design, and the overall just artistic take on what a Borderlands evolution would be. And it's just incredibly impressive, guys. Just next level Borderlands experience. Makes me so excited for September. Speaking of loot, they have a system where when you inspect your weapons, you'll be able to go through the various parts on the far right side as well, which is great because in Borderlands 1 and 2, you just had to trust the fact that some of the parts did certain things that would affect stats on the weapons. Well, they give you very specific information this time around on what, like if a barrel or an accessory is doing something specific, you'll be able to see it in the inspection of the weapon, which is great for not having to go to a wiki or something like that to actually dive into those details. You'll be able to see it in the game right away, which I think is just exactly what needed to happen with it. From what I can tell, the typical systems are back with Borderlands in terms of the loot of like 4 weapons, a shield, grenade, a class mod, and probably a relic of some sort. So that is that's basically returning. Not much changes right there. Which, in one part of me, I would have liked to see some sort of evolution of that, something different, and maybe in the end game, it's something we'll unlock and will actually end up being different. I don't know. So I would have liked to see some sort of evolution on that. But at the same time, like I said, the developers tried an armor system, and it didn't really work out. I might have mentioned that earlier. I'm not sure. I've talked a lot about Borderlands 3 over the past few days, so I'm trying to remember exactly what I've said. The armor system that they tried apparently just didn't feel like Borderlands, so they took it out, which I think is impressive. They tried stuff, they found it didn't work or didn't feel like Borderlands, so they went for something else, or they went back to the roots of it. And I think it's really smart that they were just saying, no, we're not going to innovate for the sake of innovation. If they were going to innovate, it had to make sense for the game or the feeling of a Borderlands game. So I think that's really great. So yeah, personally, it would have been interesting to see armor, but coming from a Destiny perspective. But if it was going to change it and make it not feel like Borderlands, then obviously no thanks. Keep it out of the game. Doesn't need to be there. They also, like, some questions of whether or not it was going to be a live service. That is almost 100% sure that it's not going to be a live service. You'll be able to play offline and co-op with your friends. Also, classic mode will be available, which is like the loot that everybody sees and you can yoink. And then there's instance mode, which is absolutely massive and amazing. And I'm so thankful as a streamer, I'll be honest, so thankful as a streamer that it's going to be in the game. If I am, say, level 25 and a level 10, I believe, or let's reverse it. Let's say I join a level 10 lobby and I'm level 25. All of the enemies will be leveled. I will see level 25 enemies, but I'll be doing level 10 damage numbers, and any kind of loot that drops will be to my level of level 25. So that's huge. That means I can jump in with a friend and play and still get loot that's going to be relative to my character. That is like, that's just, it's such a quality of life change right there, because like right now I'm going through an OP8 Maya run on Borderlands 2, and I don't want anybody to join that is highly overleveled that's just going to one-shot everything in the game, because I don't personally think that's fun. That's not a fun experience to me. This instance loot type of thing is going to alleviate all of those problems. So there'll never be an issue of like, hey, oh, you don't have a character that's high enough to join. Sorry. can't play. Like, that's out of the question now. Like, they've fixed that essentially. Now, if you want to still play classic mode, you will be able to, so that's great. But if you if you want to be able to just have your own loot, not have to worry about somebody stealing a legendary, or be able to have anybody, any level, join up at any time, that is a fantastic solution to that. In the presentation also, they had mentioned that there's a ton of mini-bosses, and the mini-bosses drop weapons that are relevant to them. I had it happen in my playthrough. Gigamind had dropped a legendary smart gun that would drop turrets that would be with turrets with brains that would walk around, which is exactly what I wanted from Borderlands. And they said that there's just a ton of mini bosses that are in the game. That is huge, absolutely huge, because it's confirming A, that they know that the loot system that we want is in place. We like to be able to farm specific stuff from specific enemies, so that's in the game. And second, they know that they tried, there was a thing that they tried with the pre-sequel to essentially not have that, and it didn't work. It was bad. So that's out. Or I mean, they fixed that essentially. Like in that demo, they're like, hey, yes, there's going to be weapons, legendaries, and the loot that's associated with these bosses that you'll be able to farm, and there's going to be a ton of bosses in the game. So that's fantastic right there. Also, there is apparently the most content ever released in a Borderlands game with Borderlands 3 to date. Apparently, it's going to take you about 30 hours if you were to beeline all the way through the campaign for the first playthrough. So if you take that into consideration, along with side quests, it's going to be a great experience. I'm very much so looking forward to it. Big question mark, though, is what is the end game actually going to look like? Is it going to be the same end game as Borderlands 2? And if it is, I mean, that's not going to be a problem for me. I'll still enjoy it. It would be nice if there was actual end game activities that were a little bit more than just a raid boss. It would be nice if there were activities that you can trigger, kind of like Digistruck Peak, that were more than just one, obviously. It'd be nice if there was a hybrid between a Borderlands activity or a raid boss style of thing mixed with, say, like a Destiny strike. That, in my opinion, would be an amazing balance. I'm not looking for like a Destiny directory or anything like that, or a director. I'm not looking for that in the game at all. I'm looking Borderlands, like you go to a specific area, you trigger the event. I think that's cool. It'd be nice, though, if there was maybe end-game activities that only unlocked once you've beat the campaign or hit max level. And they did offer activities that were unique to being max level and also not just one boss that you're killing. So that would be interesting if they're doing that. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe we'll find out before September. It's possible. Or it might just be a mystery until the game's actually released. And whoever, hits max level first gets to find out. Don't know. Either way, like I said, it's not a deal breaker by any means if it's going to be like Borderlands 2. It's still going to be amazing. I'm still going to play the crap out of it. But it would be nice if there was an evolution on there. Also, Sanctuary 3. Incredible, right? You're on a ship. You fly to planets. You have your own space where you can hang your favorite weapon up on the wall. I mean, it's just fantastic. It really is, guys. It's the type of stuff that I feel like a lot of developers would be like, we'd love to do that, but we are 2 years short of time of being able to develop something that cool. And they were like, you know what? We got all the time that we need to make this stuff, and they did it. At least that's what it appears to be so far. I'm very, very excited. I don't know if you can tell by the tone of this video, but I've been extremely excited for everything so far. So, I think that pretty much sums up my thoughts, guys. If there was any concerns, Claptrap's voice is not the same voice actor. That's a bit of a bummer. Definitely not a deal breaker by any means, but a bit of a bummer right there. Yeah, the end game. What exactly is the end game specifically? Has that evolved? It probably has evolved in some fashion, but is it going to be evolved enough for 2019? Honestly, don't know. I mean, if I get 500 hours of grinding out of Borderlands 3, I'm not going to be disappointed at all. I'm going to be thrilled. If it ends up being bigger, then fantastic. That's going to be really exciting. There's definitely going to be DLC campaign story content that gets added with the game as well, so that's going to expand it, which will be interesting to see how that evolves, because historically there's been some evolutions of what the game does with those type of DLCs. So maybe they have planned for in-game type of stuff to unfold with DLCs over time. That's a possibility. One thing that I did not mention either is that each character has 3 class abilities now. So instead of 1 ultimate specifically, you're now going to have options of 3 different ultimates per character. And this it really opens up the playstyles. The build potentials are going to be huge. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see how many potential builds exist in the game at launch with that much variety. Because it's not just the action skill, it's the augmentation that happens as you go down the skill trees as well. And that's going to be very, very interesting. That's all I can say is it's very interesting. We obviously only saw a low-level play, so we could only spec a little bit into this stuff. And even then, with an hour and a half, I had very little ability to just like suddenly theory craft the skill tree. I just wanted to play the game as I jumped in. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Also, are they going to add new characters? Like, they added 2 characters on Borderlands 2. I'd love it if they did like 4 more characters, honestly, because in my opinion, it adds a lot of replayability when you have interesting new characters, especially if there's going to be 3 skill trees or 3 class abilities per character. They kept going down that line, like, that'd be really fascinating. I remember Gage was released, I believe, a month after Borderlands 2. And then Scarlet's DLC came out after that. So, are they going to maintain that same schedule? Is it going to be like every 3 months or so, story DLC type of content with Borderlands 3? It's possible. I don't know. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there playing it. Very excited about it, guys. I think that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Like I said, in terms of things that I'm worried about, it's very few. Very, very few things. I'm extremely excited to play the game. Everything I played was amazing, and 2K Games was like, be honest about your opinions, and this is me being 100% honest. Very excited about the game. Yes, all stuff exciting. Very, very much excite about all things, guys. If you liked the video, thanks for watching. If you want to like it, whatever, it's all good. I'm a streamer, so I don't make YouTube videos that often. So if you want to give me a follow on Twitch, that'd be amazing, actually. Twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. I do stream in the evening time, West Coast Pacific time. Thanks for watching. You're all amazing, and I hope you enjoyed some Borderlands 3 gameplay and commentary. GG's, guys.